Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of Joe and Matty Talk New York Sports. And we got all four sports on the table today because there's a lot of free agency news out of the MLB. Not a lot for the Yankees, but got a lot to cover there. But to start, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good, pretty quiet. How about you?
It's pretty good. I'm not a big fan of the meal. It's just okay
No,
to
not
me.
a
I
big
like
fan of
food,
the.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
the turkey meal is a little boring, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. It's tradition, so we'll try
yeah,
to jazz it up in the future. One day you'll be cooking a boring turkey, and that
yeah.
you'll understand the frustration. But due to the short time we got, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Giants. Big win against the Eagles. Well, big is relative. Big is in the fact that the Eagles were on a scoring tear heading into this game, putting up
Yeah.
over 30 the last couple games. Eagles had a chance to put themselves in the playoff consideration. They probably would have been actually in contention for a wild card
Yeah.
um, had they won. Plus, it's a division game. The Giants' offense make a change at coordinator, which absolutely did zero. Still
Yeah.
pathetic offense that we've seen. There was a couple bright moments from Kenny Galladay at a couple catches. Barkley had
Yeah.
one nice run, not too much. In the first half, I thought the play calling might have been a little better. They called some screens, moved the ball around a little, but they just don't score, and that's
No,
really
it's
the problem. For even if when they move the ball down the field, they don't score, whether it's a penalty or something. My opinion, it always comes back to the offensive line just not doing a good job.
Their their red zone offense is terrible. I mean, you've seen it since week one against the Broncos. I remember their first drive they had a huge play to start it off to like Shepard or Slayton, and it was like awesome. And then you just start with the sacks and the penalties, take them right out of even field goal range,
Yeah,
and they don't end up scoring. So
false starts. It's terrible. I thought that at least in the first half they threw the ball into the end zone on a fade for Galladay. You think he's going to make that catch, being what you pay for him. It's not going to happen all the time. Slayton, despite a couple catches, has fallen off the face of the earth this year. Is not really a big part of the equation. I don't know where that happened. Um,
I
Barkley
think you got to
just
revamp. They got to revamp this offense, and it might
Well, what
be
else? You just need offensive linemen. You can't
just
just. What are you going to revamp? You can't get rid of these people. You're going
well
to get rid of
just
Evan Ingram next year because why are you going to pay him too much money? You're
to
paying
solve.
Shepard a
I
lot
think
of money
they
to sit on the bench. Galladay is
yeah.
paying a lot of money to sit on the bench. You have a first round draft pick in Kadarius Toney who could barely get on the field. I mean, you have skilled players. You just
Yeah,
can't block, and you can't. Got to stop making mistakes. That's the problem on offense. The
I
defense,
I
despite
think
zero
yeah,
pass rush, looks terrific.
I think they need to change a lot offensively, and I think to me that starts with not taking the fifth year option from Barkley and sticking with Devontae Booker, who has proved that he should be on the field. He should be getting the carries, and why should he get penalized for a higher draft pick and a
Because you spent a second round draft pick and told the whole world that he's going to be a Hall of Famer,
then he
and he's been
sucks,
not,
and
and
it's
he's been hurt. It's not that he sucks. Let's be clear. He hasn't sucked. He's been hurt. So if
it's
he's
like
not on the field,
McCaffrey.
we don't.
It's like McCaffrey. The Giants and the Panthers are
Why you
paying
do
to have this
not
team on the
invest
bench.
in running backs so much. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. He's sitting on that contract, and everyone wants to play his backup instead of him. And for me, looking at those two players play, his backup looks better than he does.
Oh
Running
yeah,
backs
I
take
love
an
Pollard's good,
absolute beating.
and I
Yeah.
think
So I
that
mean,
like
look around the league at all the failed running backs.
yeah, and
That it
Booker's
just
played well too. It's not even the fact that it's just Barkley's not explosive, whatever, and it's not
well,
even that here. It's the
it's we
ACL.
don't know. He hasn't
No, it's the
developed.
injury. The
Yeah.
injury is really what's taken away his explosiveness,
So
and
you
it's
got to
so
wait till the
obvious.
last couple games of the year to see if he gets his explosiveness back.
And it's so obvious too. Like he gets okay, he gets the big run, but that's it. Like he plays explosive the whole game when he's healthy. A 32-yard run is might be one of two or three that he does a game when he's on his game, but that's not the
Yeah, well,
case now. So I think you move on from him because he's clearly not worth the money. Nice
well, you,
guy,
I think
team
you go
player,
see what
leader, but
you
I'm
see
not
what the
paying
money
him.
is. I think you go see what it ends up being. Like, what is he
I
looking
think that's
for?
that's their mistake though. It's like if they stick with
Well, you're not going
Barkley,
to have Gettleman anymore because, as that was leaked this weekend, that he
yeah.
will not be coming back next year.
And if they
So
get rid of
that's
Barkley, I think I would love, and the Giants should go after Russell Wilson. They need a quarterback that's experienced, and they need an offensive line, and they
all
have
right. That's
neither of those.
that's a big question that people are talking about in New York. Russell Wilson. Would you give up your first? Currently, they're the I think sixth and seventh round picks, or sixth and seventh picks of the
He'll be a
draft, or
free
fifth and.
agent. He'll be a free agent this
Would you?
offseason.
No, he will not. He's just signed a 4-year extension before this, so he has at
Wait,
least 2 or
really?
3 years left on his deal at $140 million. So, are you
Oh,
going to
I thought he
give
was
up?
free agent.
Are you going to give up Russell Wilson, your 2 first-round picks, both in the top 10 this year, and then another first-round pick next year, and possibly some players? Now, maybe those players don't mean anything to you, and they're just salary cap. It might be like giving up a Sterling Shepard or something, and that's all if the Seahawks say we want to rebuild and we'll do it. You're gonna have to blow them out of the water. I wouldn't do it.
I would. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. And their mistake is they're gonna go this offseason. They're gonna be like, all right, we need offensive line, and they're gonna go right to the draft, and they're gonna
Well,
draft offensive linemen, and that's not the. They need to get. You see where teams like Green Bay, Philly, Dallas, their offensive lines are
Philly.
ridiculous.
Oh, okay. You're
The
going off. I
offense,
thought you were going quarterbacks. That's why.
their offensive lines are ridiculous, and they don't they bring players in. They don't draft them. I don't want to wait 4 years for a 50% chance that it goes well. That
Yeah, but
Andrew Thomas is just starting to become good. Don't waste those.
But,
They need a pass rusher. That's a great thing to draft. They need.
If you could get the guy from Oregon, that should be one of your first picks. And you get the guy from Oregon, and they need a right tackle.
And every Giants fan is going to disagree with me with this, but I would like to see Slayton.
But you're not going to have those picks if you get Russell Wilson. They're
okay,
all gone.
If they don't get him though,
and you have to get rid of a lot of people because you have $1 million in salary cap space until you find out what the league expands.
But they won't do it anyways.
Russell Williams.
They won't do it anyways because the Giants don't take any risks. But
you don't know who the new GM is. I think there's a lot of pressure to go. If the Giants hire someone in-house to be their GM, particularly the guy that's worked for Gettleman for years, the fans will go bananas. And the Giants, they should, because the Giants need to go find someone outside of the organization who understands the way football goes, who understands contracts and understands how to build a team, because we got told by Gettleman that he's going to build an offensive and defensive line with the Hog Mollies first. What are the 2 weakest spots on the entire Giant organization?
The offensive line
and the defensive line.
No, the D line's
solid. The D line's solid against the run, but one of the worst in the NFL for getting sacks. They have no pass rush other than Leonard Williams, who's not supposed to be getting double-digit sacks from the center position. I think their secondary, like their draft, has been good because those guys showed up yesterday. Although I think that was Philly's quarterback stinking.
For those out there who watched the Alabama-Auburn game and who have kept up with Alabama football this year, know they made one of the sneakiest transfer pickups, and to me, who I think is the best player in football, in college football right now. That would be an absolute massive sneak pick for the Giants. And his name's Jamison Williams, and he transferred from Ohio State. The wide receiver, he did get a targeting call, which is stupid.
There's no more wide receivers.
No, but this is what they don't understand. This is what they don't understand.
No, this is what you don't understand. That's ridiculous.
You get rid of Slayton and Shepard are terrible.
But you're paying them, so you can't just walk away. You made the mistake already. The Giants made the mistake.
This is different, though. This is different.
You can't just walk away.
Alabama football players don't need time to get used to the NFL. They don't need time to get used to the NFL. And a perfect example is Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, and Devontae Smith are all. Oh wait, Jamar Chase is not from Alabama, but people get the point.
And Devontae Smith has not had a great year. He's had an okay.
For a rookie, he's had a good year.
He has not had a top 10 pick. year.
But the
You would be
Giants don't want to
complaining
go
about him.
after they don't have explosive players. That's why they're not
With
good.
Kadarius Toney.
He's hurt. And
Yeah,
they don't
but you
use him
don't.
enough because they don't.
You're being delusional. You don't know who's going to get hurt before you draft them.
I'm telling you, but
Kadarius Toney
they're
had
gonna
no
they're not.
injury
Someone's gonna
signs.
draft him, and he's gonna be one of
Yeah,
the
he's
best
going to
wide
be
receivers in the league.
great.
And
But you could go
but the
back in the
Giants
draft
just
and
don't
look
have that. They don't have
back
offense.
and look at the draft at all the wide receivers, and I guarantee you could see how many people missed on Justin Jefferson. How many people missed on DK Metcalf? They miss all the time. That's
But
why
this
it's
this is the
spot to
Giants'
go.
chance to make a smart draft pick because you have 2 draft picks in the first round this year. This is the time for them not to sit back and draft an offensive lineman who could be good because that's just a waste of resources and a draft pick.
Would you rather have Jalen Waddle than Devontae Smith? He's having a much better year.
Jalen Waddle's
was a top pick. Was Rashad Bateman doing anything in Minnesota? No. Would you rather have Elijah Moore of the Jets?
This is different though. But this is different because
it's not
this guy is insane.
You're guessing.
When you look at it though, when you look at the facts,
you can't
Alabama's team, they're
Matty, who's going to throw in the ball? You hate Daniel Jones and the offensive line sucks. So you want a guy laying on the ground.
That's not my. They need to figure that out.
What happened with the wonderful Odell Beckham? How'd that work out? If you can't get the people the ball,
well, it was great when he was there. He was great when he was on the Giants.
For one,
they only say that
one
because
season go look at his numbers. And you talk
2016
about
he played
guys.
very well. 15 and 16 he played very well.
That's before these other guys were in the league. You have a very blindsided memory. You only remember the things you want to remember.
But the Giants are good. I could see the mistake going on.
There's no way in hell they should take a wide receiver. There is no way in hell
they have no weapons. Ingram is not good. Galladay's overpaid. Tony's injured. Barkley's always injured. Shepard's always injured. Slayton is the most inconsistent player.
Stop with the injury. Like you're making up these guys like it was their fault that they blew out their knee. It's ridiculous.
You can't like the Giants have no explosiveness, and you can't. We're saying okay, the defense is good, but if you get the pass rusher, that's one pick. You cannot draft an offensive lineman again. You cannot. You look at Andrew Thomas. No, like even though he's had a decent year, no. Like it doesn't.
Okay, so
they need to go after a Bakhtiari. They need to go after a David.
Yeah, and how did they get Bakhtiari? They drafted him. How did these teams do it? How did Dallas get a good line for 20 years? They spent draft resources on getting an offensive line.
But the Giants are not smart like that. They've blown it year in and year out. The Giants they've gotten good offensive
line. That's the GM's fault. That's
not from within.
That's Dave Gettleman's fault. That is not the player's fault.
I can't do. They're gonna draft some offensive linemen, and it's not gonna go. You look at Nick Gates. That's their best offensive lineman when they're on.
So why would you rather draft?
He's not brought from within.
Would you rather draft a bust wide receiver?
Yes.
I mean, if you don't believe that they could pick a lineman, then what the hell's the point? A wide receiver has a tremendous less value than any player on the offensive line.
But that's what everyone's saying. But they don't. They need to take a risk to be good. Offensively, they're not good. They're not good offensively. No, that's not through fantasy football.
No, we know that. But we know they're not good on offense. But why are they not good on offense? They've had no running game because they have no offensive line. They have no passing game. No offensive line.
How much more can you blame the offensive line though? It's a scapegoat now. You can't blame every problem on your offensive line. Like you can't blame your offensive line for Galladay dropping his first target yesterday. Like you can't blame on the offensive line.
Has a team ever made it to the Super Bowl with a bad offensive line?
No, but I'm saying we can't blame we can't sit here and say,
have they made it with a bad wide receiver? Just to answer these questions. Have they made it with a bad quarterback?
No.
Yes.
No.
They've made it with bad wide receivers and bad quarterbacks.
But how
No,
much?
to which
But we
one did you
can't.
say?
How much
Do you
can
remember
we?
Trent Dilfer beating the Giants in the Super Bowl and he could barely throw the ball because they could run it down your throat because they had an impressive offensive line. Remember the Bears?
But
They
it's
had a
too
terrible
much of
quarterback. They
the
went to the Super Bowl. They had a great defense.
yeah. It's too
The
much of the offensive
Giants
line
don't have
though.
a
But so
well.
okay,
What do
then
you
let me
when you're
propose
saying
this
too
to
much
you.
offensive? How many games has Galladay played? How many games has
Probably like
Shepard played?
10,
How many games has
11.
Tony played? Combined, they are not playing any. They're not on the field.
But okay, so then
That's the
if we get
problem.
the new
So
offensive line
fire
though,
the
where
training.
does if we get the new offensive line though, so where is it going to change? Jones is still an inexperienced quarterback that is too inconsistent and makes very bad mistakes for his age in the NFL because he
Look,
has very little experience. So is getting the
let me
offensive line
ask you
going to change
something.
that? Is
Remember
it
Kenny Galladay in Detroit? Was he pretty good with it? He had
when
Stafford
he was
throwing him the
healthy?
ball.
When he was healthy,
Yeah, these are things like
it's
Shepard's
just like
had moments when he's on the field. Ingram, I agree, he drops the ball all the time. They should get rid of him. He stinks because he can't catch the
well
ball.
the
When
thing
he's got
is
it,
you
he can run,
can't.
and then he usually fumbles.
Well, okay, so we can
I
say we could say okay, the offensive line, yes, that's their to me
and the
that
defensive
that
line.
might be their no, but the Giants are not losing games because they're because they suck defensively. It's
They did it this week, but earlier in the year, I pull up some of those scores. They weren't very good defensively.
if you
Pull up
look
their
though,
rank
to
for
me,
number of sacks and pressures on the quarterback.
if you look at to me, I like to look at statistics, although that doesn't say everything about a player. To me, it's
Yeah,
really coming
the
from the
statistics don't
leadership
help
person.
in
It's
today's
coming
football.
from the leadership part of it, and that
You
starts
can't.
with.
We can't. Me and you can't. I know, but
But
we
it's
can't
not.
judge leadership.
But
You're
you're saying though.
judging
You're
leadership the way
saying.
you're watching it on TV. We're not there. We don't know what
But
they're
you're
talking
saying
about.
though. You're saying though. Okay, the offensive line. If that's fixed, almost everything's fixed offensively.
No, I
Which.
didn't. I said offensive and defensive line. I agreed with you. Draft someone who could get pressure
But
on the quarterback.
what
And
about
the
the other
Giants are
factors
good.
though?
Strahan, OCU Manura, all these guys. Lawrence Taylor. It could
Tuck.
be a linebacker. Yeah, that's when they
But
were good. When they could put pressure on the quarterback.
what
Look at the
about though?
Baltimore
But what
Ravens.
about
Put
the other
pressure on the
things
quarterback.
though?
Steelers pressure on the quarterback. What about the other way?
But what do you like? So you look okay. They made the move with Garrett. That was the right move. His play calling was atrocious this year.
Yeah, it's
But the other
terrible.
factors that come into play is that Joe Judge, his time management his press conference, he lies to the media. He says what
Uh,
he does not
what do you
apply
want
the
him to say?
changes, but he doesn't apply. You can't say oh we have to do this, but not apply it. And I know that's hard to apply, but that's what NFL
Let
coaches
me
do.
ask you, how
That's
good
why
was the Giants
Belichick's
defense when they
successful.
gave up 30 to Washington, 44
But
to
he's the coach. He's the coach at the end of the day, though. He's the one that is at the top on that field. Is at the top
so
for that team.
so, so
He can't perform the plays on the field,
all right.
but he's the one that oversees the
So
operation.
what do you want to just fire everyone and give the ownership a new start
No, I
because
want to
they're so
fire,
good at picking coaches. Pat Shermer's been so wonderful.
but I want to
You have
give this. I
all
want to
these
give a
coaches.
comparison. I want to give a comparison. You look, and once again, I know you're probably going to say different sports, and it is true, different sports.
You can't.
But look,
Well, I'm going
just
to
for
tell
a
you right
second.
now, you can't.
No, just for a second.
Let me
Answer,
guess. Let me
answer,
answer.
answer these questions. Are the Knicks a young team in the NBA?
No.
Well, no.
Look
Yes.
at their roster. Toppin's young.
Toppin,
Burks is not
quickly.
young. Randall is not young. None of
Sims,
their starters
Grimes.
are young. Yeah, but those guys don't play. You're talking
Okay.
about the one quickly plays on
Okay.
the
But
second
what?
team with Jalen Rose, who's the former MVP and played for like 10 years.
Okay.
They have
So
Noel
they're
and
middle of the
Butler
line,
centers.
but they're not full of. They're not full of NBA experienced players, though. We could agree to that. Rose is, but is Julius Randle an experienced playoff successful NBA player? Not
Well, now
yet.
you're changing the story. It's different to be playoff experience and NBA experience because the Knicks are full of guys with NBA experience. Burks played for years in Utah. Randall has played. Noel has played. Butler has played. Rose has
But
played.
they're on the younger side
Their
though. They're
their
not on the
point
more
guard,
experienced side.
Kemba Walker, has
RJ
played.
Barrett. RJ Barrett's their main one of their main scorers, and
I
he's
don't
one.
understand your point though. Like,
Okay. I am getting far away from my point. But what happened when the Knicks brought in a successful, experienced NBA coach, and they put together the pieces by bringing in guys that would make the team better? What would happen?
but you
They
also
won and they made the playoffs last year.
yeah no, because Thibodeau is a very good coach.
That's my point.
You're saying, but look at the years of disasters. They brought in Phil Jackson, who won 7 NBA titles. It was a total disaster. The GM is the person who
Yeah.
puts those pieces together. The
okay.
respectability of the coach gets you to get people to come there. The reason why all these players take discounts and go to New England to play is because they know 1 year they'll play for Belichick. He'll make sure that they do have a great year because he gets the best out of the talent, and then they'll go cash in money somewhere else after they've won a Super Bowl ring. Why did when Brady went to Tampa and they have a lineup of old veterans who are going to take league minimums to play there because they know they have a chance at winning the Super Bowl? Giants are not in the position to get those guys. There is not a seasoned coach sitting there out there on the market for them to get. Their GM,
You're right.
Their GM has been awful. The GM before their GM was awful for 10 years. The scouting has been awful and antiquated. Their play calling has been everything the Giants have been doing. It's the ownership has been just.
But it's like you look at the different. People. Like you look, okay, so that kind of half proved my point. But what about, are the Rangers a young team? Yes.
Yeah, the Rangers
are. But the difference is the Rangers are almost the exact same team as the Giants
because different sport.
No, because no, but it's not even about the sport and what you play. They had young players. They had young players.
Drafting.
No, it's not. But you're taking it personally to the sports. It's not anything about the sports.
Yeah.
It's that in sports, why, like in just the whole grand scheme of things of sports, the Rangers last year were an offensive team and a bad defensive team. That's what the Giants were.
They were also very young, what you said.
And the Rangers, and they were under a very young and new coach. The Giants are under a new young coach. But the Giants have talent, just like the Rangers did. I think the Rangers were a little farther ahead in the process. But what happened when they brought someone in who could fix what was in shambles? Now they're winning. Now they're off to almost tie one of their best starts in franchise history.
I know, but
if the Giants did that, what would happen? They could fix their problems if they brought someone in who knows how to fix the problems. Joe Judge doesn't know how to fix the problems. Okay. He doesn't. He doesn't know how to fix the problems.
You have no idea.
But he doesn't. He doesn't, because they're not fixing the problems every week. But okay, have you?
What are you going to do? You're the defensive coordinator, and they're going to come in and just run the ball down your throat. You don't have the talent in football. Football is physical. They could manhandle you. They could push you. What do you do?
The Giants have talent to win every game.
That's where you're a fan and I'm a fan, and we're not realistically looking at what a talented team is. When Las Vegas, who puts their money on the line, what did they say? How many wins for the Giants? 7. It was over under, I think it was 6+ or 7. They knew the Giants' talent sucked. We did it because we're optimists. We're fans. We all thought they'd be good.
When push comes to shove, though, at the end of the day, though,
Focus said they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. And what is happening? They're one of the worst teams in the NFL because they don't have any depth of talent.
But you have to change something. Then you can't.
If you're an offense,
they can't roll out the same team next year.
Yeah, but that's not Joe Judge. That's the GM, and that's
the team stays the same if he's there. The mindset, you bring in new players, you could change the offensive line, but it's still the same team under his regime.
I think we're going to have to end here because this is ridiculous. Like, there's no way.
To end it on that, though, do you think that Joe Judge has done a good job based on how the Giants have had these past 2 years, just solely in his position?
I thought he did a great job last year dealing with COVID, being a first-year coach, dealing
But it's
with
gotten
being.
worse this year, in
Yeah,
my
it's got
opinion.
worse because the whole team is out.
That's why I want to go through a whole new rebuild because
Look at their
they
lineup.
can't fix this team. You can't fix this team. You can't. It's too
What is
much.
your? Yeah, see,
You have
but
to redo it
it's
because
you
they redid
can't
it
be
and they didn't redo it right. They redid it. They didn't redo it right, just like we were
three
saying the
times in a
Knicks
row
so
they
many
were
times.
redoing it. Like
No,
they should have never hung
no.
on to Eli. That was a mistake too when he was late
But
in his career.
they pushed him out because they didn't give him the
Because he
assets to
was
stay
not
up.
a good
He
quarterback
he
anymore.
could, but you know
He
why
was
though?
not. Could you go back and look at the way he threw the ball?
But
One of your favorite players, Beckham, didn't want him because the ball ducked in the
why do
air.
you think Brady is still in the league? Because
Because
Eli
he's
Manning
a
had the
wait.
worst offensive line and he's old too. He can't throw well if he's
Where are you
under
saying that
pressure.
he's the worst offensive line?
The
Where have you?
Giants, he had a terrible offensive line from
Oh,
15
I
on.
thought you said
Eli,
Brady.
Eli,
Yeah,
they
and they did
pushed him
nothing with.
out. They pushed him out because they
No,
didn't
they
give him the
didn't. They kept
assets.
him a year too long.
They wanted him out of there just so they could
Did you,
get someone else.
outside of a Giant fan, was anyone on TV going, I really think we should hang on to Eli Manning because he's zipping the ball around the yard? I love
No,
Eli
because the
Manning.
Giants
I like
suck.
him.
Because the Giants just don't know how to run a franchise. I swear, me and you should be put in the spots and we'd run it better. Because
No, well,
they don't fix what's
that's
wrong.
pure delusion. We have no idea what is going on behind
But
the scenes.
they're getting paid to do it, and they're
Of
not
course
even
they
doing it
are.
well. So
But we're just two schmoes who are watching it. Like we don't know what is going on. We
I
don't
mean,
know
I'm
if
getting paid to do you and me are getting paid to do jobs, and we're doing them well, and they
yeah. And
can't.
what did you feel insulted if someone watched you from outside your restaurant and said, "Wow, that guy really sucks, man. He's terrible at his job." It could have been someone a customer yelling at you. Oh, he must be terrible. You have no idea what's going on in those interactions. You don't know if the players are motivated. You don't know if they're. The one
Yeah.
thing I do say is the players are always playing hard for Joe Judge. They need to get down on the mistakes. But I see an offensive line whose their center is gone for their year. They're on their God knows how many guards they've gone through this year. They never have the starting lineup. That Andrew
Yeah.
Thomas has missed most of the year. Their right tackle Solder is one of the worst in the entire NFL. Never mind. They have
But that's a
zero
continuous
pass rush.
problem that they keep that starts with the
Yeah,
coaching and the GM and the owner,
it's
honestly.
the GM and the owner. The coach doesn't get to pick the players when
But
he's in
they're
the
in
league.
on it though. They're in the discussion. They don't pick it, but they're in the discussion.
Well, you know what? Well, Jason Garrett brought in his offensive line coach, and he just got fired. And
Yeah. Well, they're not even they don't even have Joe Judge's assistants in there. They have other Jason
yeah,
Garrett is
which
not
makes
Joe
for
Judge's assistant, but I think with there we should move on so we don't run
well, I
out of
think we're out
time.
of time to even get to other sports. So we're gonna have to pick it up later in the week and talk about the
Yeah.
MLB, and
Well, I
we'll talk
think with
about Kemba Walker
The
getting
Knicks and
benched.
Rangers, same place. We beat the Hawks, so that was good for the Knicks. Rangers haven't played in a while, but same thing as always. Still not at their quite best. I think they're on it, but the good record.
Kemba
And
Walker
then
gets getting benched is a weird thing for me because he
that's fine.
in the same breath. But they said he got benched, but yet he's still a starter player. Does that mean they're going to try him again later, or does that mean that they're going to cut him?
I think it's just a. I think it's just a little. I think it's just a little like kind of to pick him up a little bit. Maybe he's off to. I mean, Julius Randle's been off to a slow start. Besides the fact of 4 games, maybe they scored and he can't play against the Hawks. But the Knicks just gotta have a tough schedule, power through. Rangers have a cakewalk of a couple games to start off the month, but well, not a cakewalk, but they
Well, that
need
means they'll
to.
probably lose 50%
They
of them.
all right. The games are really hard. They need to. They need to pick up a couple wins, but just a couple of contracts that happen today. Quickly go through them in the MLB. I'm sorry, voice crack. Scherzer to the Mets surprised me. The Mets look pretty good.
To
The Mets
say
got
the least. I thought he never wanted to play out east, and he wasn't certainly not interested in getting traded to New York. But from everything
yeah.
that I heard, as a Union's rep person, he couldn't take an offer that wasn't the most expensive on the table just to
Yeah.
protect the Union.
Well, I think, and the Mets picked up Eduardo Escobar, Mark Canha, and Starling Marte, and they're spending money, and I think they're doing it better than the Yankees are because they have a good team. They have put in the assets to where they make a best of 5 series, they win that because they have DeGrom and Scherzer. They win it
Yeah, but
because they have that.
before we crown them champions, let's just think of the Nets.
No, I'm not. I'm
And
not
they
saying that.
thought
I'm just
and
saying.
then the Mets also now
Yeah, but
are
the
the
Nets
most
brought in the
expensive
best
team
players
in
in
the
the
league,
league.
so that they are going to be paying a fortune in luxury tax. So we'll see how
I
long
think,
he's
but
willing to do this.
they're making the right moves because their offense was atrocious last year, and bringing in Marte and Canna, that's going to change a lot at those positions because Baez, face it, Lindor was their big move, their big project, and it's not paying off. The game he had against the
Room
Yankees, the
is they're
3
not
homers,
done.
the 3 homer game against the Yankees, that's what they wanted on a daily basis. I know you're not. I'm not saying 3 homers on a daily basis, but that type of offensive, the bats and the performance. And then
Well, to have big games.
Seager to the Rangers. Who else went to the Rangers besides Seager?
I forget. I think my internet's not quick enough right now.
The Mariners got Robbie Ray, NL Cy Young. Kevin Gausman to the Blue Jays. That hurts. That's where I wanted the Yankees to go after Gausman.
Yeah, I thought that was way too much money for him.
But then now, this is the problem though. I'm seeing a developing issue is that the Yankees do not have that second starting pitcher, and now the Blue Jays have incredible stuff. If the Red Sox add on, even though they lost Eduardo
Yeah,
Rodriguez, but
but
that's not a big
who
hole.
won the World Series last year?
Um, who did the Braves?
Braves. Who were their 2 star pitchers?
Their starters are
Remember the
much
Rays?
better than people think.
What about the
Max
Rays?
Fried? Max Fried is a very underrated starting pitch. The Braves had the bullpen, and the Braves.
Yeah, so
That's a once in a 20-year thing. I'm sorry, enjoy it because that's not going to happen again. They shouldn't even been there in the first place. I'm glad they beat the Astros, but celebrate it. It's like the Nationals because that's not going to happen for a while. And um, but I'm just seeing before we go, I'm seeing a developing issue. Is now the Yankees, they got Jose Peraza from the Mets, but I was a little disappointed. I know the Yankees always spend their money, but I would have liked to see them pick up one person to at least make a change so
well,
they
it's
don't.
also no one that they really
But
wanted other than
they've lost 2 guys out of the market already. They showed interest in
Seager.
Verlander. They lost
But
Verlander.
if
They
they
showed
wanted
interest.
Verlander, they could have grabbed. Yeah, but
They showed interest in Seager
they
now.
showed interest, but you're forgetting it. Slow
But
down.
it's slipping away.
When
Because
people
they're not going to get Story now. I hope they get Didi.
panicking. The Yankees, every agent and every team is going to include and say the Yankees are interested. You know why? Because it gets their client more money. And the Major League Baseball doesn't want the Yankees to ever say, "Oh, I'm not interested in that person." So the Yankees are always going to do due diligence and go check in on Justin Verlander. If they wanted Verlander, they would have spent. They gave him a ridiculous 2-year contract coming off of Tommy John surgery for $40 million. That's not a miss for the Yankees. Corey Seager, 10 years, $325 million.
That's too much.
It's
That's
not a
years.
miss for the Yankees. Would they have loved to have him? But no.
The Rangers spent a lot of money. I'll tell you right
we're
now.
Close to the walkout that was coming up, so I think a couple more contracts will wrap up before Thursday, and then we'll see. The Yankees are not known for making the first move usually. They're going to wait and see what happens. They also got to talk about Judge. There's a lot of money. They got to get rid of Hicks if they could find someone to take him.
I don't like. But
I'm not
add
worried
2 more
about
contracts.
I'm not worried about the Yankees.
Had 2 more big contracts. The Texas Rangers had Marcus Semien in a 7-year contract. That is a great contract. He's an incredible player, and they're going to be a team not to mess with next year. I'm going to tell you that.
I'm not worried about Texas at all. They suck.
But they could put it, but they don't have it's putting the assets together. And now you see Byron Buxton's 7-year deal is the best
assets are
defensive
so
center fielder.
expensive. It doesn't last long. It's kind of like having a veteran quarterback. You can't go out and sign everyone on the free agent market. It won't last. That's why they have.
And Buxton signed a 7-year deal with the Twins. He's the best defensive center fielder in my opinion in the league. But I'm gonna say this one more time before we go. The Yankees cannot roll out. I know they'll make changes, but they cannot roll out a 75% of what was last year's team. You just can't roll that out again. They're gonna have. I think. I would like to see.
How many games did they win last year, ballpark?
That is not good though. What was it?
No, the Yankees. What do you mean?
86 or something. I forget.
They made
It's
the
not good. The
playoffs.
Yankees were supposed to win 110 games.
God, it's so delusional how much we ask of these teams.
92 wins. That's very disappointing.
92 wins. Every team in the league would have signed up for that. Every single one.
But not every single team had one of the highest paid pitchers in the league. I don't know.
Yeah,
As long as I'm telling you right now, I'll always cheer for the Yankees. If they don't sign Aaron Judge, I'm not a Yankees fan anymore. It's simple as that. Even if you don't sign anyone,
good luck go being a fan of one of the other teams that doesn't get any of these players ever.
It's not because I'm being
greedy. A Texas Ranger fan.
It's not because I'm
totally being greedy.
No, it's because it's just the smart move. It's like I said with Zibanejad. It would be pure idiot. Is idiocy a word? No. It would be pure stupidity if the Rangers didn't sign Zibanejad, and it would be pure stupidity if the Yankees don't sign Judge. It's just, that's why I say that.
They will sign Judge, but let's not get with these over dramatic like.
I hate when they go. When they
There's
go
no
on
team
Twitter
better to root for in any league than the Yankees.
When they go on Twitter and they say like, "Oh, Judge," they keep posting the video. They keep posting the video of like Judge saying he wants to be a Yankee for life and thought he would like I don't know. I hate that stuff. I hate when they post that stuff. I know they'll sign. I know the Yankees will do the right thing. I'm just saying they have to. They have to do that.
Yeah, but you also have to be, as a fan, be realistic that if they give out another $300 million to Judge, they have 3 people with $300 million contracts. Most teams can't afford one of those.
Stanton, Judge, and
Cole.
Wait, Stanton's one?
Yeah.
That's worth it. Those two, but Judge and Stanton provided a year.
But Matty, look at other teams. Scherzer's going to probably make more in 1 year than the Marlins pay their entire payroll. Like, that's where it's screwed up. Like, you can't have a team of $300 million contracts.
But that's the owner, though. That's the money that the owner provides.
Yeah, but there's.
I don't know what Jeter's doing now. I don't no clue what Jeter's doing in the Marlins.
You gotta be realistic. Take a look at other teams through their eyes. Like the Brewers have been a good team for a while. Are they in the market for any of these people? No. Cardinals have been
They have the little things. They have the little things. They do the little things right.
But would you be happy with the little things? If the Yankees are going in that direction,
the Yankees always go too big.
Make the playoffs once every 5 years, tops.
But the Yankees, their issue, they go too big. I want to see a move, but they always take it too far. They always go after the big cheese.
Asking for $300 million in big cheeses.
But Seager was the right move. That's what I'm saying, though. I'm not just saying, okay, you make them Seager move, but then they make other big moves. They overdo it.
Blows out of steam next year, and you're committed to him for 9 more years for $325 million, and he never steps on the field.
Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh, but you'll be happy because Corey Kluber got signed by the Rays.
Yeah.
Great. And lastly, before we end the night, I was gonna say never mind.
We'll figure it out. Till next time, good luck at your basketball game, all right?
All right. See you guys next time.
Bye.